Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Did you know that, according to national data, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men experience sexual assault during college? The Hunting for Answers campus tour is bringing this conversation straight to college campuses, starting on December 1st at Clark Atlanta University. We'll be in the Carl Mary Ware Building, room 103 at 12 p.m. Come out and join us as we break down relational awareness, dating literacy, and how we all can better protect ourselves and build safer communities. We hope to see you there. For more details, follow Hunting for Answers on social media. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we're highlighting a case out of Mobile, Alabama. A case that has haunted the community for more than a decade. In the summer of 2012, a 14-year-old girl was dropped off at her father's home for what was supposed to be a weekend visit. She never came home. Her father left town immediately after she disappeared. And for 13 years, he seemed to be the only person who knew what really happened. In 2024, the case took a chilling turn that would lead to a trial and even more questions. Today, she still remains missing. This is the story of Brittany Robinson. Brittany Shantae Robinson was just 14 years old, a bright, kind-hearted teen with a love for reading and drawing. She was preparing to start 9th grade at Murphy High School in the fall of 2012, enrolled in advanced courses, and excited for what was ahead. Her family remembers her as mature beyond her years, yet still very much a kid at heart. She lived with severe asthma and relied on daily medication, so when she vanished without it, those who loved her knew something was very wrong. On the morning of June 14th, 2012, Brittany's aunt dropped her off at her father's home on McCovery Road in Mobile for what was supposed to be a 2-day visit. Her father, Demetric Hooper, would say he'd bring her back on Sunday, but she was never seen again. Hooper left Mobile immediately after the disappearance and traveled extensively throughout the Southeast. At that moment, there was no record that he ever reported her missing. For weeks, her mother and relatives called, searched, and waited until a missing person bulletin was issued. Investigators traced her father to Arkansas, where he had entered a mental health facility in September of 2012. Her father suffered from schizophrenia and had sought treatment at that facility. In the years before Brittany's disappearance, he had been hospitalized multiple times in Alabama for his mental illness and struggles with drug use. When police found him, he was in possession of Brittany's pink iPod, a rope, and knives. But Brittany herself was still nowhere in sight. In the years that followed, Hooper was charged with custodial interference in connection with Brittany's disappearance. He eventually pleaded guilty to the felony and served time in prison. But even then, he never revealed what happened to his daughter. After Brittany's disappearance, family members searched, called, and waited. Police and volunteer groups conducted ground searches near McCovery Road and other areas following leads. But Brittany was still nowhere to be found, and the case was going cold. Her mother held on to hope, but as the years wore on, authorities began to suspect something far less hopeful. In December 2023, everything changed. Demetric Hooper was arrested in Oklahoma City on unrelated felony charges, assault with a dangerous weapon, and burglary. While he sat in custody, investigators in Mobile revisited the file on his daughter's disappearance, reviewing old statements, re-examining evidence, and consulting the cold case unit. By February 2024, a Mobile County grand jury returned a formal indictment, charging Hooper with murder in the presumed death of his daughter, Brittany Robinson. In May 2024, Demetric Hooper was extradited back to Alabama to face a murder charge in the disappearance. Prosecutors argued that the passage of time, his post-disappearance behavior, and the items found in his possession all pointed to one unavoidable truth: that Brittany was no longer alive. Mobile District Attorney Keith Blackwood had told reporters, "The passage of time makes it more certain that Brittany Robinson was killed and that, she didn't run away and is just going to appear back in Mobile one day." But without her remains, and without forensic evidence showing what happened to her, the prosecution faced an uphill battle to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The trial began early, June 2025. Jurors heard about a controlled burn site where investigators found a shovel and a burnt cell phone and bones discovered on a dirt road that were later determined to be animal remains. Brittany's sister and aunt testified that Hooper grew agitated whenever the topic of Brittany's disappearance came up. They also heard testimony about hair found in a bird's nest, hair that tests revealed came from a wig. It was a case built almost entirely on circumstantial evidence and a missing teen no one could explain. In the end, the jury returned its verdict: not guilty. For Brittany's family, the acquittal was devastating. They had waited 13 years for answers and were left with even more questions. Today, Brittany Robinson remains missing. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, she would now be 27 years old. Her case is still listed as active by the Mobile Police Department's Cold Case Unit. Age progression images on file with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children show what she might look like today. And for her mother and family, the search for answers continues. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of Brittany Robinson. If you have any information about her disappearance, contact the Mobile Police Department or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. You can find their contact information in the description below. As we close out this episode, remember to share Brittany's story, to help spread awareness, and to keep her name alive as her family continues their fight for justice. Don't forget to follow Hunting for Answers to stay updated on Brittany's case and others like it. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more true crime stories and updates. And if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to share your thoughts on this case in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.